Tell us sort of the challenge of facing a big entrenched industry
Yeah.
in insurance and disrupting that, and how you guys kind of go about that, how you're doing that through product innovation, but also through marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the keys to our disruption and how we're able to develop a better customer experience, which ultimately is helping us grow a lot quicker than I think incumbents in the industry have, is data analysis, understanding what the customers need currently, and how we can provide a product that better resources that, and a marketing message that reaches them clearer and quicker.
So, who is your audience? I mean, how do you identify the audiences that
Yeah.
you're going after?
So insurance launches state by state. It's a highly regulated market. And so in each individual state, we have a product that has clear defined coverage around what people actually own in their homes. So for example, we have 4 times more coverage for electronics. And then we took down coverages on fur coats for people in California and nationally. But if you think about California living, you don't think of somebody walking out in a fur coat, right? But you do think of their 5 laptops around their table with their kids and their smart TV hanging on their wall. So we really took a look at what kind of coverage people need and integrated that into the product and into the policy, which makes a huge difference. In terms of data analysis and how that feeds into the marketing angles per state, which is our current focus right now, are these localized launches and these kind of regional campaigns. We understand pricing variations when we go into a market, but we know where our price is best based on how quickly and at what a high rate that people convert at. And I can get that down to the zip level. So I know per zip code, and that could be a few thousand people, how well our product is priced. And that allows me to go in and usually convert a lot quicker and then learn from that customer base of how to retain more customers like them.
So, how do you reach them?
So we have an omnichannel approach, and so that means we've tested almost everything. Right now, we're heavily in search, heavily in direct mail, and then we employ a lot of offline channels, television and radio, and even billboards, to increase our reach and frequency to support the digital and more performance-driven channels.
So, what do you make of television as an opportunity? We speak to a bunch of folks in direct-to-consumers, disruptive brands. They're embracing television.
Yeah.
What do you hope to get out of television? What's important?
So brand awareness is the most important for us out of television right now. We treat it as a brand channel currently, with some budget built in for performance metrics on the back end too. So we expect a certain level of CAC. Our KPIs are still set as they are against performance channels, but we're a lot more lenient on how much we're willing to pay for that audience member to convert, because we know we're getting a large brand play out of it as well. As our brand increases and we don't need that awareness as much, then the CAC will have to go down. So it's a long-term play, and it's a really important piece of, again, the multi-channel mix. I don't think it can stand on its own right now with a new brand or somebody who's just breaking out of the gate. But it's a really, really important piece of the pie to us. It's a nice way to show our narrative and tell our story.
So, what are some lessons that you've learned or you might want to share in terms of, you've been there for a couple of years now?
I've been with Hippo Insurance for just over 2 years.
Yeah. Some lessons learned about success and penetrating markets as you've done, and connecting with consumers, some takeaways you might share with us?
Yeah. So I think each channel is different. A multi-channel approach means that you have to learn measurement and analytics really quickly. It's really hard to segment and separate, for example, TV and radio measurement versus clickable links. So understanding an attribution model and a measurement approach that actually marries everything all together so that you're learning along the way is really important. And then I have roots in communications. And I think understanding your message and your audience and taking the time to pick up the phone and call customers and to make that part of your ongoing marketing engagement makes a huge difference in the long-term strategy and your overall approach.
How do you transition into activating on television? Sort of, what does that continuum look like?
That's a really good question. So I think people always look at budget first. They always consider how much money they need to get on television. From my perspective, it's do you know your audience well enough, and do you have the goals set so that you need an awareness channel play in your marketing mix before you actually get up and running on television. Television is not a medium, and the creative that you have to develop to put up on TV is not a medium that you want to test out messaging on, or heavily test messaging on, or play around with different types of spokespeople. From a scrappy startup marketer's perspective, you want to have a pretty good sense of what's actually going to drive awareness or growth or whatever your goal is before you actually start down the path of TV, because you could waste a lot of money otherwise. And we found that it's a huge awareness support, but it's only because we put so much extra work in beforehand to figure out who our customer was and what they want to hear about us.